I'm Jack, and welcome back because today I'm going to give you guys a review for a sequel to a hit Halloween movie back in the 90s, Hocus Pocus 2. It stars Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy reprising their roles as the iconic Sanderson Sisters with some brand new faces like Whitney Peak, Tony Hale, Hannah Waddingham, Lilia Buckingham, Sam Richardson, and many more. And with that said, let's get started. Set 29 years after the events of the original film, this movie follows Becca and Izzy in Salem, Massachusetts, as they unintentionally resurrected the Sanderson sisters, and they must go on a mission and stop them before they wreak even more havoc in Salem. I loved the original Hocus Pocus. It's fun, it's entertaining. I love the Sanderson sisters, and it's very cheesy for a 90s movie, but it's also just very fun, hilarious, full of great moments, especially musical sequences like this.
I put a spell on you, and now you're gone. My planet fell on you, and it was strong. So strong.
And it's a movie that you can watch every Halloween with family and friends. With this movie, I know that it's a legacy sequel set 29 years later, that we finally got to see another movie with these characters, but I also didn't see a trailer for this one, so I came into this movie very much blind, which is not what I typically do for movies nowadays, but I came into this movie very interested in seeing what the story was going to be about, what they have in store with this one, especially with some people they got into the mix here, because you got Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso, which I loved. And you got Tony Hale, who I also really like.
I'm listening.
So I was really curious to see this movie and check it out on Disney+. So now that I watched it, I really enjoyed Hocus Pocus 2. The Sanderson sisters are once again amazing in this movie, and it's a great legacy sequel to the original film that has everything you love from that movie with some brand new things. The way this movie opens, I think, is a really good way to do things, where we actually get to learn more about the Sanderson sisters and how people hated them in Salem and why they became who they are in this movie. I thought that's a nice way to kick things off. We learn more about the Sanderson sisters, and so as how that plays out throughout the story, it's a very important scene when you go into the movie. The cast here is really great. I really liked seeing Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy return as the Sanderson sisters. They just slipped right back into their roles like there wasn't as big of a gap between these movies. They were so fun to watch. They had such a great energy where they just popped on screen every time when we see them cause mayhem and just go do their thing.
I bet you're looking for the stage.
Always.
The way they play off with every other character is so fun. They got some great song moments, especially with The Witches Are Back.
Witch, the witches are back. Who are they performing for? You.
And I just love what the movie does with them. If you love them in the original film, you are going to love them once again in Hocus Pocus 2. They are the standout characters, and they really made this movie really great because they just elevated everything around them, because they just came back, and now that things are a lot more modern compared to what they were like in the 90s, how places and tech have advanced since then. There are a lot of funny gags with that in this movie that I will not spoil, but I love just seeing them interact with the characters and just being resurrected in Salem once again. They are just an absolute delight to watch on screen. Kathy Najimy is hilarious once again as Mary Sanderson. She is easily the funniest of the three characters in this movie with how she interacts with the technology, because they're now in modern day here compared to modern day in the 90s, and how she and the other sisters interact with how Salem has changed since they were last alive. I really like that it made for some really funny moments with them, and I really liked how Sarah had the same energy as she did in the original film, where her character has that same attitude and personality, and just how the sisters and everyone just react to one another and just what she does. if you love the original film and how they handle the characters, you're going to love them here because they are just so great. And we even got to see Doug Jones return as Billy Butcherson, and he is hilarious. He helped be a part of another funny side plot in this movie that I thought worked really well. And it was just so good that they really made it seem like he looks the exact same as he did in that original film. And I really liked the new protagonist with Becca, Izzy, and Cassie, how they both have a friendship and that over the course of the past couple of years, they've been pretty distant with Cassie and how this movie is really important for them to get back together and whatnot. And I like that here, especially with how that plays out with what happens with the Sanderson sisters and how they came back to Salem to cause mayhem, and this story of them trying to reunite and stop the Sanderson sisters. There's some really heartwarming stuff there that I really like. And I think the cast as a whole is really good, especially with what we got of Tony Hale, Hannah Waddingham, and just everyone else as a whole. They do a great job. And Sam Richardson plays Gilbert, a new character in this movie. And I also thought his character was fun to watch, who also has a great side plot in this movie. The cast as a whole, I really enjoyed them in this movie. The production value is really great because obviously this is a movie made 29 years after the original. You can really tell that you have the characters like the Sanderson sisters interact with modern day Salem, and it really looks nice, and I like the way that it showcases it, where it really has a little bit of a different feel than the original film to differentiate the time frame, how the original was in the 90s and now it's in 2022. I really like that here, and so as how the Sanderson sisters interact with it. It's a well-visualized movie from the visuals, and so as just the way it's filmed and what they do with it, it does have some really good production value put into it. This movie is also a legacy sequel of sorts because it came out nearly 30 years after the original film, and so this is a movie where you still got the nostalgia, where it makes you remember what you love about the original and to give you some Easter eggs to the original film, but it also does that really well when compared to a lot of the new stuff with the new characters and how Salem has changed since the original and how the Sanderson sisters just react to everything and causing chaos, and there's some new things thrown into the mix that really makes this movie a sequel that justifies its existence and being more than just a sequel that has some throwbacks to the original film. And even though the jokes may not have landed always like the original movie does, there are still a lot of really good jokes most of the time, and a lot of it comes from the situation and the great comedic timing from the cast members, and so as just the jokes that are at play. It's a really funny movie, and most of the time I was laughing throughout the film, and it has a good amount of heart, especially in the ending, where it really closes things off in a nice way, where it really works as a double feature if you watch this back to back with the original Hocus Pocus. And so it's a movie where you have a strong beginning, a strong ending, and you got a really fun middle with a good amount of comedy, a good amount of heart, a good amount of nostalgia with some great performances from the cast. And it's just an all-around fun time. Any issues I have with the movie is that I do feel like the movie can be a little predictable. It plays out in ways I expected it to, and there are some moments where you feel like it's rehashing beats from the original film with the Sanderson sisters and what our characters are going to do to stop it. And there are times where I sit there thinking that this is how a certain moment is going to play out, and it plays out in that way. It's not the most unpredictable movie of the year. It definitely has some moments where you can expect things to happen in a certain way, but it doesn't bring down the movie a lot in any way. And not a big issue, but I also feel a little bit bummed we didn't get a lot of Hannah Waddingham here, because I love her in Ted Lasso, and I kind of expected a little bit more of her because I love what we got of her a lot as Mother Witch, and I kind of sat there thinking I would have liked just a little bit more of her. Overall, I had a really great time with Hocus Pocus 2. It's a great sequel to the original with some great performances from the cast and a delightful return for the Sanderson sisters, who are once again just as fun and energetic to watch on screen since the first movie, with some really funny moments, and it's very well paced. That doesn't overstay its welcome, and it has a good amount of everything. It's also a great usage of nostalgia and new elements mixed together to make this a great sequel that is just as fun to watch, that has an existence. And so with that said, I'm going to give Hocus Pocus 2 a B+. I can definitely see myself watching Hocus Pocus 1 and 2 back to back every October. The first movie I really enjoyed, and same with Hocus Pocus 2. I hope you guys go check it out on Disney Plus while you can. I think it's worth watching. And if you are someone that loves the original Hocus Pocus, you're going to have a really good time with Hocus Pocus 2. So I hope you guys will go check it out on Disney Plus while you can. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Hocus Pocus 2. What are your thoughts on it? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear it. Stay tuned for some upcoming videos that I have planned for the channel moving forward. And don't forget to follow me on social media. My username is down below at the bottom of the screen and in the description below. So please go do that while you're at it. And thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button. And stay tuned for more.